This week, Starship's path beyond Flight 10 comes into focus. NASA lays the groundwork for nuclear power on the moon, and SpaceX keeps building its mega constellation at record pace. My name is Connor, and welcome to another episode of Spaceflight News. It's been less than 2 weeks since Flight 10, and already Starbase is pushing ahead towards Flight 11. SpaceX released stunning new imagery from the last test. Shots of accent plumes, views of Earth from orbit, and plasma searing across Ship 37 during re-entry, even showing debris shedding from the aft. For many inside and outside of the company, Flight 10 was the first time that optimism has really felt justified. The path to full reusability is clear, and it might be measured in months, not years or decades. Some now believe orbital refilling could happen as early as next year. Elon Musk, never shy about looking ahead, even suggested that the first Starship mission to Mars could fly in that same timeframe. These would be uncrewed landers, attempting controlled entries and descents directly on the skirts. No legs, no recovery guarantees. They'd serve primarily as data-gathering flights, perhaps even dropping off Starlink satellites in Martian orbit. A full cargo mission in 2026 remains a stretch to say the least, but the 2028 window now looks like a realistic target. How amazing is that? Mars by 2028. Closer to Earth, the hardware for Flight 11 is already in motion. Booster 15, which last flew on Flight 8, has been staged for a static fire, marking the second ever reuse of the Super Heavy. It rolled to the pad less than 2 weeks after Flight 10, a sign for how quickly SpaceX wants to turn these flights around. After its static fire, the booster will roll back so the next upper stage ship can undergo its own tests. Flight objectives are still undisclosed, but if regulators are satisfied with the data from Flight 10, SpaceX could attempt a full orbital mission with Starlink V3 satellites on board. If not, another suborbital test may follow. Controlled orbital insertion and clean deorbiting are critical steps before Starship can be cleared for operational payloads. Meanwhile, Pad 2 is rapidly taking shape. New stabilizing arms have been installed to help align vehicles during stacking. Unlike Pad 1, this pad will use a bowl and socket hold-down system, rather than a removable stabilizer. The flame trench walls are nearly complete, a promising, sturdier foundation for the next generation of launches. There will be no rock tornado with this pad. Production hasn't slowed either. A triple barrel test tank with reinforced stingers has been assembled in Mega Bay 2, designed to pair with a shipped aft section. A new booster forward section with an integrated hot staging dome has rolled out as well, likely bound for Pad 2 testing. These trials echo the arm slap experiments from earlier this year, steps towards validating the systems that will define the Block 3 architecture. In short, the pace certainly hasn't let up over at Starbase. From new flame trenches and cryogenic systems to reused boosters and the first Mars whispers, Flight 10 wasn't an ending, it was just the beginning. NASA released a draft procurement process for its Lunar nuclear reactor program, part of the Fission Surface Power Initiative. The goal is a reactor capable of generating 100 kilowatts of electricity on the moon by the end of 2029. But this time, NASA wants industry to take the lead. Proposals will be judged not just on technical merit, but on their commercial liability. Companies are expected to line up customers beyond NASA. In fact, the agency says it will give a higher rating to plans that offer a wholly commercial delivery of the payload to the moon. It's a shift towards a future where the lunar infrastructure is not just government built, but bought and sold like any other services here on Earth, where anyone can get a piece of the action and can try it out for themselves. On the lunar surface itself, another competition is heating up. 3 companies, Astrolab, Intuitive Machines, and Lunar Outpost, will all have submitted final proposals for the NASA Lunar Terrain Vehicle contract. The rover will serve astronauts on later Artemis missions, ferrying them across the rugged terrain of the South Pole. A single winner will be chosen later this year, though many in the industry are hoping NASA awards 2 contracts. Now, closer to home, the International Space Station received its first reboost from SpaceX Dragon. The CRS-33 cargo Dragon, docked since last month, fired its thrusters for 5 minutes, raising the station's orbit by 1.6 kilometers. The maneuver used a special reboost kit tucked into Dragon's trunk. This job has traditionally been handled by Russian Progress spacecraft, so Dragon's success adds a new layer of independence for ISS operations at a time when US-Russian cooperation remains certainly fragile. And finally, new insights have arrived for the interior of Mars. Thanks to NASA's InSight lander, 2 studies published this week show that Mars has a solid inner core and a liquid outer core, much like Earth. But unlike Earth, Mars lacks a protective magnetic field. Scientists think that's because its mantle doesn't circulate heat as effectively, leaving the core stagnant and colder. Another study suggests the massive asteroid impacts may have left chunks of debris embedded deep in Mars's mantle. Together, the findings reveal a planet that looks familiar in structure but alien in outcome, a world that lost the protective shield that might have kept it more Earth-like. Now onto launches this week. It was a quieter week for launches overall, but a few certainly stood out, sending 2 Long March rockets aloft on September 5th and 6th, both carrying government payloads. While little is disclosed about the cargo, the rapid pace reflects China's ongoing commitment to expanding its orbital infrastructure. SpaceX, meanwhile, dominated the week's numbers. Across 4 Falcon 9 launches, 2 on September 3rd and another pair on 5th and 6th, the company deployed 104 additional Starlink satellites. The constellation continues to grow at an incredibly rapid pace, pushing well past 9,000 active satellites in orbit. And that's all for us this week. If you enjoyed this episode, follow Spaceflight News on YouTube, Instagram, and X for more stories from the frontier of space exploration. Until next time, keep looking up. A new Block 3 booster stand is nearly ready as well, featuring a dual dick. Oh my god. Okay, don't include that in the don't don't include that in the bloopers.